So hello everybody and welcome to the channel bobsales this times next year. So I'm sorry if I'm not in a normal setting. I am actually at work and I am actually bored. So as you know, in my personal life, my work's not going well. As you can see, I'm sitting in an empty office right now and my job's currently getting taken by AI. So I'm sat here doing barely anything, shall we say. So right now I have actually got the time to do this, even though I probably shouldn't be. So this video is just going to be a bit of a random natter, to be honest. There's not actually anything planned. I just wanted to go over some of the VeVe stuff that's happened this week. So bear with me if it's a bit rambly. If not everything's fact checked, not everything's prices are going to be accurate and stuff. So bear that in mind when watching this video. And plus it is like 2 AM for me. So I have got till 8 AM before I finish my shift. So I think the first thing we'll talk about is the Monster Hunters animation. Drop is absolutely beautiful. The animations on the collectibles are really nice animations. However, the animation did have problems. The eyes on the animation. On the white one, for instance, I can't pronounce either of their names. So the white one I actually named Dua Lipa because it is that beautiful. Now if you know the singer Dua Lipa is, I think you'll understand where I'm coming from. Now the animation was great with that one. Really nice, exquisite, the way it opened its wings. Really nice animation. But the eye did let it down. So if it weren't for the eye, I'd definitely give that animation a 10. But there was a slight issue with the eye. When you zoomed in on the dragon, on the animated one, the eye did sort of bounce out the head and then bounce back in. And at first I thought it was just a download thing, just the fact that I was using data rather than the internet. But no, it's a permanent fixture. So that definitely needs fixing in my opinion. They've sold us a bit of a dodgy drop there. Although the animation on that drop itself and the secret rare, I do really like secret rare, even though it's still, I do really like it. So full disclosure, I do actually own both sets of them, so I did believe in them. Now the other thing that let that drop down is the sound. So again, we have two dragons that look like they should be roaring, 100% look like they should be roaring. Why are they not roaring? Actually find out that this drop was announced somewhat years ago. And I found out from one of the older members on Twitter that this was one of the drops we knew was coming about 2-3 years back. Has something changed over that time? Different games have come out. There was a film in 2022, I believe. So maybe the roar was in there and in fact was changed, or maybe the roar was no longer relevant. But again, it is a mythical creature. A dragon should roar. And it does look like it should roar, which really does let the animation down, I must say. So, with that, the dragons are really nice. But we've got to add sound to that. We've got to get sound to that. Now, I don't know why they would change it. Now, we found out, I did actually speak to Alex in Spaces about the sound. And the reason he gave for the no sound was, obviously, if it doesn't match what it's supposed to sound like, so if it's a Lamborghini, for instance, and it sounds like a Mini Cooper, the IP themselves are not going to be happy with that and not going to be happy with putting that out. Also, when you drive the cars in AR, it's not like you can just have a flat engine noise, because when you start driving them, obviously the sound will change. I could understand that one with that. But with a mythical creature such as a dragon, that don't really stick with me. I mean, it could have had any dragon noise and it would have been great. Now I know you can make great sounding collectibles like the Star Wars collectible we've just recently had. The roar's amazing on that. The DC Swamp Thing, the roar's amazing on that. I'm sorry if I'm itching. I have got a lump developing on my arm and I'm really not sure what it is, but it's really bothering me. So I do apologise about that. The big problem with this was the burns. Now it was announced that on the 27th, the remaining that was unsold would be burned. Well, the 27th come and the remaining was not sold. So the 27th come and the remaining was not burned. I think that's one of the big problems with VeVe. Again, timelines. The burns were announced for the 27th. They should have been done on the 27th. So one of the other things we did have in the VeVe space this week is VeVe did actually announce the DreamWorks Troll Hunter set would actually be burned as well. Now it turned out this was actually an error on VeVe's part. So the Troll Hunter set themselves were never going to be burned. It was always going to be the dragons. So the dragons we already had announced, the ones we were just talking about, this was in fact supposed to be a retweet of that burn. not the troll hunters being burned. Now I do know people that did actually buy into the set after this. I did actually have the ultra rare already, and I also had the uncommon. I did have the whole set at one point, but I did sell off most of that set. And they have been sitting really low in the market, but again, it wasn't a big IP. I think there were 30 gems on drop, so they have been sitting under cost, but again, not the biggest IP. And I don't think they sold out neither. Well, they didn't sell out neither. That's why the burns, obviously. Ashley, come on, work it out, lad. So yeah, it was a bit disappointing. The prices did actually start going up on the ultra rare, I did notice. It turns out it's not even them that was getting burnt. Now, I'm not sure who's in charge of VeVe's Twitter handle, who's in charge of their marketing, their drop strategies or anything like that. But again, that's an error that shouldn't be done at this stage in the game. VeVe's a 3-4-year-old company now, and we shouldn't be making them sort of errors. That is a very, very easy thing to do, but a hard thing to do at the same time. Like, how do you even make that mistake? Although it wasn't the biggest drop in the world, wasn't the most damaging in the world, but a lot of people, I mean, I do know at least 3 people that did buy into that set for that reason. So it did definitely damage some people. So we definitely got to be more careful with that. And the big news of the week, Luke's secret rare. So Luke Skywalker secret rare has actually flipped the partner statue. Should it be flipping the partner statue? That's the first thing. So is Luke actually a good buy right now? The secret rare itself is a non-animated version. It's also a far from perfect collectible. It doesn't look right in the face. It does look like it's going to move like Jagger. So there's definitely that letting it down. Now it is FA Skywalker, but again we do have FA Darth Vader. Now, if you're asking me, I would say FA Darth Vader would be more valuable than Luke Skywalker. If you mention Star Wars, Sky Wars I nearly said. If you mention Star Wars 21, I think you're going to get a Yoda impersonation or Darth Vader impersonation. So I don't think Luke Skywalker is the biggest one in the world, and I definitely don't think it should be where it's sat right now. And to flip the partner statue, I think that's another thing altogether. So I'd definitely be wary about buying in at the prices on this. Now, full disclosure, I did actually land Mint 91 rare, the animated, on the drop, and I did actually sell it a bit early, but it was to Randy Chavez, so I thought that guy's lost enough money in Omi and stuff like that, especially Marvel Mighties, because he always overpays for them. So I did actually give him a bit of a deal. At the time, I think the floor was 70 gems on the rare. I did get Mint 91, so I could have probably got 400 to 500, but I did take 300 for it. And at the time, I'm happy with my sale. I'm still happy with my sale. Sometimes it's better to take the money and run. And on this occasion, Star Wars is not really my fandom. I didn't see even Mint 91 being worth the 300 gems, so I sold it. But let's think of it another way. So obviously the additions come into play with Luke Skywalker, of course they did. I think it's less additions than Darth, and obviously less additions than the partner statue. Now the partner statue applies to a lot more people than the Star Wars drop does. The Luke is obviously one IP, it's Star Wars. Now obviously Disney being Disney, the partner statue and Mickey Mouse, that's a very significant piece. Whereas we're always going to get more Star Wars characters. We could always get different poses. We all know we could. So that's a thing to think about. For me, everyone grew up to a Disney film. Everyone's grew up with it in their childhood. And still to this day, children are still growing up with it. And now we even have things such as Alien vs Predator on there. We have quite a few random things that you wouldn't think would be on there. I mean, even all Pixar stuff is now Disney. There's a lot of stuff, Marvel is now Disney. Nearly everything is now Disney. But at the same time, Disney, we're going to count Disney's IP itself this time. And we're going to say that Disney's IP is definitely bigger. People did buy the partner statue at £44,000. They did buy the Todd at high prices. Now it worries me because it's a lot of money to lose. We've seen it happen. I don't think Luke is the next Grail. I really don't. As soon as your Yoda's going to drop, Luke's going to get undercut and Yoda's going to be top. I do see that happening. So I'm a little bit wary about things right now. Obviously the space is very unsure right now. We're seeing less wallets more and more at the minute active in VeVe. Less interaction, if you like. I'm even seeing hardcore VeVe users, a lot of hardcore VeVe users, sending me message about having slight doubt. Will things actually come out? Will the future actually happen like we all thought it would? So right now, a safe bet is don't buy anything over 100 gems. That is definitely a safe bet. The more you risk on one item, the more you can lose. I would definitely rather spend £1.50 on ultra rare comics, one by one, that are 13 to 15 gems right now, than I would one secret rare Luke. Because that's a lot of money to risk, and it could go down. And worryingly, it could go down. So I think one thing we should all be learning right now is this has already happened with the partner statue, has already happened with Todd. So I'm seeing the same pattern right now happening with Luke. So be wary. Obviously, it's not financial advice. This is all my personal opinion. But I wouldn't buy Luke at these prices. I really wouldn't. Hello, sorry about that. My phone meant one of the depots was ringing me. So anyway, the next thing I wanted to talk about, the next point, I believe, is Oscar. So Oscar came and went, and of course, Oscar did not do well. So VeVe take 90, I believe it sold just under 500 editions, which is probably one of the worst selling drops of VeVe's collectibles of all time. Now the animation's great with Oscar, the sound's great, it is a longer animation, the collectible does look exactly how it should. So what's the issue? So is Sesame Street the wrong IP for the fandom we currently have, the user base we currently have? Was the asking price a bit too much, being at 60 gems again? Now, after the Cookie Monster not selling out, my problem is VeVe should have read the crowd a little bit. Obviously, half the editions, maybe, I would say. Because, let's face it, Cookie Monster didn't sell out either. It was the same price, 60 gems. So I do think they should have either lowered the price, or lowered the editions to make up for it, one or the other. So Sesame Street, we did have the issue with all the articles last time. This time, however, the drop was not promoted whatsoever on Sesame Street's page. I didn't see one mention of it. In fact, I did actually go on there, on one of their recent posts, and I did actually comment on there, thank you for the NFTs. Great, my grandkids love it, etc. Not that I have grandkids, but of course I was lying. But I was like, yeah, great, thank you for that. It's great to support your project and stuff, and I didn't even get a reply. So that shows you how much they care about the NFTs they just sold. Now the other thing that wasn't mentioned this time was the fact that it was going to a non-profit organisation, and it does in fact go back into helping the shows. None of that was mentioned this time, and after the FUD last time from the Sesame Street crowd about us having NFTs, I think that could have also put a lot of VeVe users off themselves this time. Because after that, I don't think a lot of people was really that interested in the first place. And I think after the FUD last time, I think that just killed it for a lot of people, to be honest. And I do think VeVe dropped the ball on that one again. So one of the other things we should talk about is the Mighty airdrops. So again, we've got another Marvel Mighty airdrop. And this is perhaps the worst set of Marvel Mighties we have in the app. Looks wise, they're pretty plain and simple. That doesn't shock me at all because sometimes they are. But they was getting better in quality and they seem to have gone back down in quality. So that seems to be a problem. Now, of course, there is an airdrop announced with this one. And of course, a standard thing has happened. So the secret rare Cosmo actually sat at 350 gems. I think around 350 gems. It is under that now. I think it's under 300 now. But again, this is FA Cosmo. So there really shouldn't be a lot of people interested in Cosmo. But at this point, there's been so many Marvel Mighties on the app. I think a lot of people are so invested in them right now, they can't help but get the next set. I do think that's what's going on. Again, this time it's got the inflated price for the secret rare. And again, when the airdrop does come, this price will drop half. Or it will at least go to the quarter of the value it's worth. So right now, if you want the whole set, it's going to cost you about 360 gems. When you're buying these sort of things right now, you've got to work it out in your brain. The airdrop going to be worth 350 gems to you, or will it be a big loss? Knowing that you're going to get half price for the collectibles, if not a quarter of the price for the collectibles you have left remaining. So yeah, I'm not too sure about that one. I would avoid these higher purchases right now. I really would. And we've seen so many horror stories in the past. I think everyone should be a bit wary of the things that are actually inflated right now. on the lines of additions was the aerial posters. Now, I did make the mistake of reading under the comment section of that, and there was quite a few racist comments. I'm not going to lie, and some of them from the VeVe fam, what I even have on Twitter. So I was a bit annoyed about that. I must admit, there were some really bad comments underneath there, and they did get quite animated and quite loud about it. Now, in my personal opinions, the FA is not that significant in anyone's eyes, even if it was the original aerial, as we all know. Now, for me, the aerial I know would have been better. So the normal aerial, the older aerial, would have been better for me. But again, this is the new film. This is going to be the new aerial the kids remember. So this aerial is probably a better buy right now. The other aerial will get forgotten by the next generation. So I'm not overly mad about that. But then the additions. So let's talk about the additions. So the additions is 800 overall for, I think, all of them. So four verities and I think 200 additions each. So for 15 gems, if you was to get that on box, you absolutely made a killing on that. I think each one was 250 after drop. I think some of them have gone down to 150 now and under. Now, for a 15 gem drop, I think if you landed that, you've made a pretty good, you've had a pretty good day right there. Now, the items themselves, yes, they're very nice posters. But again, is it worth the money? Is the value really there? Yes, the additions are probably the lowest they've ever been on a drop like this. But again, I don't see the value being there. I do think these are slightly just going to keep going down. But again, we do see in VeVe that the lower edition sizes do start going back up in price after a while. So that does tend to happen. But again, is it a good investment right now to buy an aerial poster for 150 gems? I think not. The whole set's going to cost you, what, 600, maybe a bit more than that. I think that's crazy money for that item. I really do. I think there's a lot better items you could get for that. That's been the VeVe news of the week. I think I've caught everything there. I hope this video didn't sound too negative because there was a lot of criticism in this video, a lot of warnings in this video. I hope everyone wins in this app. But it does concern me a bit with the prices right now on the Luke's Secret Rare. I do see that being overvalued. Cosmos is definitely overvalued. So I would definitely advise caution. But again, if you're collecting because you like it, then you could pay £1,000. But again, if you're just collecting in the app and that is your goal, then and money is no object for you and you can spare £1,000, £2,000 at a time, then by all means, welcome yourself to it. But for me personally, anything over 100 gems right now is probably too much of a risk to be going in to one item for. It really is. I mean, a lot of the secret rares, even secret rares, I bought a lot of secret rares recently at 40 to 60 gems, I would say. Not the most popular secret rares, that's probably where I went wrong. But again, they are secret rares and they were never under 100. They used to all be over 800 at one point, and now they went under the 100 mark, and recently they've gone lower than that. But the ones I brought for 60 to 80 gems have actually all gone lower right now. So yeah, a bit crazy. So one of the other things I am actually doing right now, you will see me selling a lot of stuff. I am trying to get rid of that bobsales wife account. I wasn't allowed to merge it because it is KYC'd. And I'm finding it a bit annoying, and I'll tell you why. So for big drops, obviously it is handy to have 2 accounts. Very nice. But I do keep going to make short videos and stuff like that, and then realising I've got Ed in one account and then my Lamborghini in another account, and I wanted them both in the same account. So that is getting to be a bit of a nightmare recently. I do have quite a few low mint numbers, specific mint numbers in there, movie mint numbers in there, last mint numbers in there, and I am actually going to sell it all at a loss right now just because I'm sick of trying to manage 2 accounts. Now there is probably only about £1,500 in that account, but it's still going to be a bit of a slog to sell it off. So if you do see any of my stuff, don't start panicking. I'm not leaving the app. I'm literally selling on that account, and I'm probably going to reinvest the money in the other account and buy the same items, or I'm just going to wait and just use it for drops for now, because I'm really not sure what's going on. One of the other things we should mention is the VeVeverse has been delayed. Yes, it's been delayed. We kind of expected it to be delayed. I do personally, after I'd done a video on Meta and Disney building the metaverse and stuff like that, I do actually think that the VeVe-verse could be a money pit right now. I do want the glorified showroom. I do want the housing features. I do want all the features to come with it. But again, I don't want VeVe to invest too much time into it because I do believe it could be a money pit right now. If company like Meta and Facebook are struggling, well, Meta is Facebook, but if companies like that are struggling and have lost billions of pounds at this point, I'm not sure it's the greatest thing for VeVe to do. Although VeVe do make a lot of money on each drop, there's no denying that. VeVe has definitely made a good chunk of money right now. And I can't imagine their costs are too high. Yes, they pay the partners, they pay the licensors, they pay to create the NFTs. Well, sometimes they pay to create the NFTs. So, yeah, I'm not sure their costs are too high, and I'm sure they're making an absolute killing. So money's probably not a worry for them. But I do worry that if they spend too much time trying to do that, they could overinvest, and it could put the project in financial ruin. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Now, I do have a couple of other videos in the plan. I have been doing a lot of drop videos recently. VeVe have been pumping the drops and not a lot of much else. I haven't gone into crypto toys. I quite frankly can't afford it right now. I'm in a couple of projects. I think I'm in HRO. I'm obviously in DC Palm, and I'm obviously in VeVe, the main one. I've also brought a couple of cards for Helix Metaverse, and I'm also going to do another story on that soon, I would say, because they've just recently done an AMA, so I should probably catch up on that. But again, I haven't started on the crypto toys. I do like the idea. I do like the boxes. The only thing I don't like is they don't have a marketplace. They don't have a lot sorted right now. And I really don't want to join another app where it's going to be waiting for things to be built. I'd rather not have to do all that again. So I think I'll stay where I am, keep my money in the same place it's been. And I don't think I'll keep spreading my money thinner in between apps. I do think a lot of times people do jump on the next big thing, and a lot of the times I do think it's the wrong move. So I'm going to go with that. I do see that a lot of the time the VeVe content creators do a video on something and then everyone jumps straight on the horse. But yeah, with the crypto toys, they've got so much work to do. I don't think I want to get involved until a couple more bits are finalised, at least until they've got a marketplace and there's a way to get money out. Now, speaking of money, UK still doesn't have cash out over here from VeVe yet. So hopefully that is arranged soon. I don't need to use the cash out option. But again, it is a safety net having the cash out option there. And I do think it's a worldwide app. You should have worldwide cash out. I don't think you should be giving Americans cash out and not giving the UK, Canada and everyone else cash out. I think that's a bit wrong. But again, that's out of VeVe's hands. So we'll just have to wait and see on that front. So as always, I have been still going for the drops. I am still doing drop videos. I do need to do some more live stream, but my internet does keep crashing. And I believe it's actually my laptop now, not my internet. So I do need to get that fixed. So if you do see any of my stuff selling in the market, it will help me out if you actually purchase it. So with that being said, I've been your host, Bob Sales. I wish you all the luck with your purchases. I wish none of the prices I've mentioned today go down. I really don't want to put any jinxes on anything. I hope there's a lot of people winning in the app right now with some of the prices that have happened. But I do bid you caution with purchasing at some of the prices right now. But as always, I'm sorry if I rambled on a bit. But as always, I've been your host, Bob Sales. This time next year, we will be millionaires. A peace.